I think if you think of them in as little marketers, you involve them in the process, right? You involve them in making sure that what you're doing in the schools goes outside the doors, because they're the ones that go in and out. Right. They live in the community.
Yes. So Dee, thank you for meeting with me. We are here at the EDLIFE conference. You are the marketing specialist. Tell us why it's important for schools to market to the outside world. I mean, I never really knew that schools needed to do marketing.
Yes, that's a great question. There is a category that is called marketing education, actually, or education marketing, because it's just vital. Our world has changed so much. You have to be able to amplify your message, no matter what that is. You're marketing at home. Your children market themselves. You are a marketer, and you have to be able to amplify your message. So it's super important from an education platform to get stakeholders in the community to understand the importance of the work that's being done inside those buildings, and even through online communications. But education is such a vital foundation of our society that I think schools need to really take a look at how are they amplifying the message of the work that they're doing, because people want to buy into that. They want to be a part. A lot of times we get upset and we say we don't have enough support. But have you put your message out there so you can garner the support that you need?
Right.
And I think conferences like this, where you get an opportunity to speak to leadership and kind of reframe the conversation around things that they would not normally think about just outside of the classroom environment, is so important.
And so I know earlier we were talking and you said that in the marketing process, when schools are marketing their message to the community to help gain support for the curriculum or whatever things they have going on inside the school, how important is it for the students to carry that message?
It's super important. I'm an advocate that you have little marketers running up and down the hallway. My nephew is 4 years old and he has a cell phone. And not that he's 4 years old and I gave him a toy cell phone like I gave his mother.
Right.
He has an actual cell phone and knows how to use it.
Right.
And I think that it's super important to view children in the classroom, children in school, in a way that you see them as little marketers going out telling the message. If they get an A on their paper, they're going to be so excited. They're going to tell their auntie they got an A. They're calling on the phone. They're going to FaceTime. They're going to tell their cousin that works at the local pizzeria, and you see how quickly that message of just that one micro moment has now already gone 3, 4
domino effect.
And so if you look at children that way, think about the experiences they're having in the classroom when they're learning something new or there's a new initiative. I think if you think of them in as little marketers, you involve them in the process, right? You involve them in making sure that what you're doing in the schools goes outside the doors, because they're the ones that go in and out.
Right.
They live in the community.
Yes.
They go to the local cleaners. You know, they might go to the movies near the house. So you've got these little promotional bulletins and billboards just walking around in society. And I think that that's what I'm excited to talk about in this particular at this particular workshop, because it's just going to be a spark that you're like, oh wow.
Yeah, never thought about that.
Never thought of it that
because
way.
I mean, I've never thought about schools marketing, but now that you're talking about it, when I think about some of the schools in my community, I hear the parents saying, oh, I want my child to go to this school, and I want my child to go to that school. And that's because that particular school has had students running around saying, oh, I've done this and I do this at my school and I do this and I love this teacher and I love that. And the schools are also marketing because they have parents that are helping to also facilitate that support. So it makes sense now, but initially when you talk about marketing for schools, I don't think it would resonate with many people. And I think you talking about it at this conference is definitely going to help the leaders understand that those are some changes that we probably need to make.
It's a conversation that has to be had. I think that schools have always marketed in a way, but not in a sophisticated way. I don't think they frame the conversation even.
And did they even use the word marketing?
Because marketing really is a new word, but it's evolved into what we see today because our world has evolved so much.
Yeah.
But I will say that, when my mother, if like we had parent-teacher conference, sending out a flyer or sending a flyer home with your child is the same concept.
Yes.
And you get the parent involved.
Right.
And so it's a community communicating within itself. What I'm proposing here is a school does not have to be without anything it needs. We have more small business owners than ever. I work with business owners. You have more organizations available in communities than ever. I don't think that there is any debate how important educating children is. But I would also say that you want to give businesses and other stakeholders an opportunity to come in and be a part of that process and not make education this linear or single-sided conversation.
Yeah.
You want to involve other people because those other perspectives and resources, right? So when we hear urban schools don't have enough books,
right,
or we don't hear there's enough technology, or that the teachers need more of this to do their job well, it's not that the resources are not there. It's just that there has not been a platform or a gateway in to be a part of that.
So I think, if I'm hearing you correctly, schools need to do a better job at building relationships outside of the school.
It comes down for me to community engagement.
Right.
And when schools hear community engagement, they typically hear we want to get parents more involved. They stop at the parent. But the parent is also a marketer. A parent is also involved, and really, to be honest, they hold, I think they're the power player in this, because they are the ones that they're the ones that go to the cleaners and then they go to the school.
Right.
So they're kind of your middle tier in that whole marketing paradigm.
Right.
And I'm going to break down some paradigms and look at a pyramid of how that should work.
Okay. Here at the EDLIFE conference, I know you're great friends with Ms. Prince. Tell me how you feel about the work she's doing. How you came to be a part of the work and what it means to you.
It's one of those things, one of my dear friends is an alum of the high school that she was principal of in Detroit. They were holding an event. I met her there, and she just, Angela is just a loving, sweet person. And so we were joking around because I went to another high school. I went to a college prep high school. And so later on, after the event, she contacted me a couple months later. I'd say about 6-7 months later, and just said, I need help. I want to do this. And I had heard she was no longer at the school. And we just started from there. And I told her the other day, it's been 3 years. We worked all through the pandemic, all through the lockdown. Again, y'all know my Ben and Jerry story, but we developed a deeper connection around this idea of equitable education. I've been fortunate to be able to travel and build a company and all those things. but her passion for this is so infectious that it brought me to tears. I was talking to her on my way here to the conference, and I said, I was so teary-eyed and emotional, and I said, you gave me an opportunity to put my business in a place where I feel good about what we do. It's not just, somebody's
Yes.
marketing, offering marketing services because we're selling the lipstick, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But this to me is legacy building because the work that we do, even in the smallest way of creating a flyer or building a website, we are going to, when she goes and these passionate and phenomenal educators, we had a part in that. And so it brings a different level of purpose to my own company.
Absolutely. Yes.
And it's something that I can feel proud of. Because when they go in and those teachers take this back, I still take there's a part of my company that goes with it.
Right.
And so for every child, for as long as a person teaches, we will have our footprint in that and have our fingerprint in that. And I was so emotional, and I told her that it was the way I thought about EDLIFE has given my company more purpose. Not that we don't.
Right.
But it just gave us a deeper sense of purpose.
Absolutely. And that's what relationships do. That's why we connect with certain people, so that we can ignite one another, help one another, and care for one another, right? As one. And then people see that example and hopefully are infected by the care that you guys are putting into EDLIFE Consulting. Last question is, what do you think is the biggest problem in education in the schools today? I know people, all of us, many people have many opinions and have tried many things over many years. And it just seems like education is just continuing to fall through the cracks. Our children are suffering. Our ethnic and brown babies are not getting the education that they deserve. What do you think is the biggest problem?
The word that comes to mind, I would say, Sylvia's apathy. People don't care enough. I think that's what it comes down to. They just don't care enough.
Yeah.
If I don't have, if I don't care what happens to you, and when I say that, I'm saying neutral emotion, like I don't care one way or the other.
Right.
Then I'm not going to take any action one way or the other.
Absolutely.
And so it's going to start from that. I think that's a very dangerous place to be. It's dangerous when you don't care. It's one thing if you're embroiled and angry, either if you're angry or you're far to the left or you're far to the right of a situation, you still care.
Right.
Even if I see that as negative care, it's still care. But the most dangerous thing, I think, in education is to not care.
Yeah.
And I think if we don't stir people to care, I think that's where we keep seeing.
Do you think that more and more teachers or educators and leaders don't care because of lack of support?
I think it's a daunting task. I think it is a daunting task. I think if you look at it all at once, I think it almost will just numb you because it really is what the work that they're doing, and it's a word that keeps coming up, that it's like they're just starting the conversation.
Yeah.
They're just starting, right? You have to keep it going.
Right.
And it's such a big issue.
Yeah.
That has all these little micro issues that just kind of go in all these different directions.
Yeah.
And just thinking about that is, I would hope that as we walk away and as we have leaders in politics, in other realms of society, I would hope that people would start caring.
Yeah.
Even if I don't agree
Right.
with what you're saying, say something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have an opinion.
Have that conversation.
Have the conversation.
Yeah.
At least be willing to come to the table
Mhm.
and let's talk about it. But if you don't want to talk about it, it's just because you don't care about it.
Right.
And we need to give some attention to it.
Mhm.
But I think that I'm satisfied in being in this space with people who care.
Yeah.
Because they're talking about it.
Mhm.
They're saying, "Come and sit with me. Let's have this
Let's
conversation.
have this conversation. Let's see what we can do to make things better and start igniting more people to care and not just be caring for themselves and for their children.
Because it would be easy to do that.
Right.
Very easy to do that. It takes courage to do what they're doing here.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
To be a disruptor, it takes, because that's what's happening.
Yeah.
They're disrupting.
Yeah.
It takes courage to do that.
Yeah.
And it takes work. And
Absolutely.
so I commend them for what they're doing. And I'm just here to lend my expertise so that they can get more community support in these individual schools so that they can go and replicate and they can disrupt more.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Ms. Lockett.
No problem.
I really appreciate you.
No problem. Thank you.